Welcome, welcome, welcome to Off Brand, where we peel back the layers of onion that goes into the On Brand TV show hosted by Jimmy Fallon and Boz. It's exciting. I'm in New York right now. It's advertising week. That's why my throat and my voice is husky because I'm talking a lot during the day and then I'm having a few drinks at night. It's just what's been happening, and I make no apologies. It's part of the beauty of this biz, which is what with this show celebrates. So it's just part of the reality. My name is Rob Mayhew. I have over 25 years working in advertising, and today is episode 3 of Off Brand because there have been 3 episodes of On Brand. Now, last week we had Mahari, who won the account, the Southwest Airlines account, with his interesting concept about superpowers, which I've grown to like more as I thought about it this week. I think visually, the he answered the brief. I still preferred Bianca's idea, but it's fine. It's going to happen, isn't it? But this week on Brand was a good one because we moved into fashion. Fashion, fashion, fashion. I used to work for a fashion comms PR agency for about 5, 6 years. Now, I wasn't allowed near the fashion. I was fashion adjacent. I got free trousers, and I've still got those trousers. They don't fit me anymore. Just to go into the showroom, make friends with the team down there. They occasionally might go, "You can have these, Rob," and I'd take them. Um, that was as close as I got to fashion. I like knitted sweaters. That's me. Now, Marshall is the account they're pitching for this week. If you're in the UK, you might not know what Marshall's is. It's a bit like TK Maxx. It's like premium luxury-ish fashion items at more affordable prices, if that makes sense. So TK Maxx. And for anyone in America, that's called TJ Maxx. But this is Marshall's. Okay. And yeah, I've got some views on what I thought of the ask and the delivery on this, which I'll be sharing with you right now. Emily is the head of marketing, and she came along and she briefed the team. Here they are in New York, summer, greatest city in the world. Sometimes too hot during the summer, though. I will say that. It's been very good at advertising week this week, by the way. It's always quite fun. It's down at like the mall at Penn, like near Penn Station, the Penn District, and yeah, just a lot of networking, a lot of talks, and then just I went to the Spotify party last night. That was fun. Chance the Rapper DJ'd. That was great. No, he didn't DJ. He performed, and I had just a few too many drinks, and that's all right. You know, I'm allowed. It was a school night, but it's fine. It means I had to watch this show this morning. I couldn't catch it live. But, you'll forgive me. So what was the ask? What was the brief? Remember last week we lost BT. So there is less of them this week. And so you get a little bit more information, see a little bit more of the process going into them answering this brief, which I enjoyed with the show, this episode. So the brief today was introduce people to the magic of Marshalls. They need to come up with a campaign, a tagline, a pop-up activation concept, and a billboard. Emily was great. She did say something that always makes me laugh when a client does it. They just describe themselves as premium and fun. Um, most brands think they're premium, quite honestly. But one thing I will say, and I'm in two minds whether I believe this or not. So it didn't necessarily feel like a real brief. The first episode, Duncan's, they ended up briefing them to come up with a concept that would be on pack and in store, and then the prize was that you could actually did go live in 10,000 stores. The winner here would see their campaign uh, live on a billboard in Times Square, and I do think that as lovely as and amazing as that is as a prize, it didn't feel quite the 10,000 stores seeing your product in there. So it felt like not quite a real brief, but exciting nonetheless, because there's a lot of like challenges you have when coming up with pop-up activations. You need to make them fun. You need people just want to like engage. So how can you get them to engage with your brand and get the messaging across? And with fashion, trying on clothes, it's going to take time. Seeing the clothes, just how can you get through the numbers of people you need to get through at a pop up, and then getting that snap, getting that photo that then could be projected onto the billboard. And, that's quite a lot to be thinking about. But they had a good crack at it. They really did. So first up was Mahari. He came up with he pitched the idea of like having a walk-in closet where you'd have stylists. He had here a red carpet. The feedback was that should be blue, which isn't a bad idea. There was no branding on this, but it's nice. It's kind of brings that kind of high-end fashion stylist, but for making it more accessible, which is quite nice. And it's all about all your clothes being in the closet, and having a walk-in closet is just a nice kind of activation for that. So then we had Lauren, and she was all about bringing the glambot. So we've all seen the glambot at the Oscars, at the Emmys, and at the Met Gala. Very luxury. Sort of, it just seems like quite an exciting experience to be part of, to actually go on the glambot. So she wanted to bring that to Marshalls, bring that to the pop up, so you could get styled, and then you get to go on the Glambot and have that experience, which everyone really liked, which is right. Then we had Raj, who said, "Good stuff that you deserve," and he came up with an idea of a drip bar. They didn't quite get this. It's it it just didn't land, which is fair enough. Good stuff you deserve. Isn't just doesn't feel very like premium. It doesn't feel like it's sort of a complicated message, and it just doesn't feel very Marshalls. You can hear that feedback a lot. It just doesn't feel very us. Then Bianca, I really like this. She segmented the audiences. She was thinking about the product. Her take was that you kind of have different zones within the pop up. So Milan, maybe like featured, just like you can come and look at the leather. New York was a little bit more high fashion. Then Paris, Tokyo, and it's like a nice little journey you walk through, and you can really kind of start to get into the types of products you would find at Marshalls. I really like this. I don't know whether it maybe felt too expensive to activate. Um, there wasn't a lot of constructive feedback for her on this one. Then we had Sabrina, again, sort of red carpet kind of experience. Then we had, oh yeah, this is fun. This was Ryan. He came up with La Shams, which is Marshall's sort of mixed up, which I thought was quite interesting. So it's kind of like a play. It's like sort of we are a very high fashion concept store, but you come in, you suddenly realize it's Marshalls. I knew the client wasn't going to like that because the client is obsessed with their own brand, and they're like, why would you try and hide that? We're proud to be Marshalls. But it's a nice idea, just didn't quite land, and clients are not going to like that sort of idea, even though it was a good one. Then we had Piper, who came up with the joyride of a good find. Um, of a great find, good find. It was fun, entertaining, you know. Then we had Elijah. Luck not required was his idea. Boz sort of fed back saying, actually, that sort of saying not isn't a good thing. So she changed it to maybe it was luck guaranteed. But again, that's quite a big bit of feedback. You're kind of changing your whole copy line, so that didn't bode well for him. Then we had Ajali, um, who, yeah, you will look great no matter what life throws at you. I really like this concept. It was a nice idea. It's you about surviving the day and then putting on your Marshall's outfit and, just feeling good about yourself. So those were the ideas. So who got shortlisted? Well, There was 4 shortlisted. It was Lauren, Bianca, Mahari, and Ryan. They were shortlisted. The 2 final chosen were Lauren, so that's her Spotlight Ready, the Glambot, and then Mahari with his closet, his stylist closet. So both very happy. I'm sorry, Mahari, just to give you a heads up, I haven't taken very complimentary screen grabs of you. You always look like you're crying when I'm taking the screen grabs, but that's fine. So they basically overnight built these pop-ups in Times Square. That's actually not Times Square in New York, but that's very realistic. These things are no, they're not designing and concepting and then putting it up overnight, but these things go up overnight, and yeah, they got to open them to the general public and to see what people thought. And the client was able to, Emily was able to sort of come along and see, and Boz and Jimmy were able to kind of see what was exciting people and see how, because no, it wasn't just kind of a pop up concept. They had to then take a picture at the experience of people enjoying the clothes to then put on the billboard. So that was a key feature here, that you needed to start thinking about the end product, which was that photo that you're going to put on the billboard. So this was the Glambot. Lots of branding, nice backdrop, maybe a little bit branded. Feels like sort of something you might have at an award ceremony or a conference, rather than something you might see projected onto Times Square billboard. This was Mahari's concept, nice and open. You come in one at a time, which I think was a slight problem. It's not sort of not realistic. People are just not going to want to queue, although they do love queuing in New York. You come in, you meet a stylist, you get dressed up, you have your photo taken. It's kind of it's nice. The client's going to like this sort of idea, and it just looks prettier than this kind of concept here, which sort of at the round. The round one, you had all the clothes on the outside, which is kind of good, but you couldn't see in. Um, People like to be able to see it from all angles, essentially. So then they did a big pitch. Here they are pitching, and they did strong pitches. I think the argument against Mahari's was that it didn't feel very inclusive. Um, and then but it was about the product. And I will say this, Mahari's, you'd get your photo taken after getting styled, and the photos looked incredible. Whereas for for Lauren's, the photos didn't look as good. The experience was much better, but the end product wasn't as good. So if she had just fixed, if she had almost taken some of Mahari's, made this more like a store with a Glambot in it, and then had that photo of you in the Glambot in the store or in front of something, a better backdrop, she could win. So they did a really good pitch, both of them. And guess who won? It was Mahari. He's a 2-time winner now, 2 episode back to back. Well done, Mahari. He got to bring his 2 very well dressed, very cute kids to Times Square to see the billboard. There we are. That's what I mean when I say that the photos came out much better on Mahari's, and I think that's what swung it. I do think the experience, the pop up experience, he wasn't getting through enough people through the door, and just getting styled isn't very exciting. The glam bot with Lauren's idea was so much better in terms of a pop-up experience. If they'd just left it there, she probably would have won. But because it was about what we can project onto the billboard at Times Square, I think Mahari edged it because it was a nicer visual. And we'd all love to be on a billboard, wouldn't we? Oh, look, was I? Yes, I was. I was a few years ago. I worked with Samsung, and they projected me at Piccadilly Circus on a billboard. So I know how it feels, Mahari. It's exciting. You can't deny that. It was a great episode. Again, my notes are that part of the debrief is that I really liked Bianca's idea. I thought that Mahari's and Lauren's were good as well. And it didn't feel like a real brief. And actually, there's a bit of conflict between having the billboard and then having the pop up. I feel like the billboard end result was what they were judging it a bit more than the pop up. If it was judged just purely on the pop up, then Lauren probably would have won. But congratulations, Mahari, 2 times winner. Can't argue with that. Doesn't matter what I say. It's about what the client says. because that's the industry. The client always wins. So looking forward to the 4th episode, which is happening on Friday night. So I will see you on Saturday. So this has been Off Brand. There we go. See you soon.